Hello guys, welcome to today's tutorial, which is the introduction to HTML and CSS and how it works together to create a web page. Now the first requirement for the class is going to be a browser, which in my own case I prefer to use Chrome. And the second one is your IDE, where your editor, where you want to edit your web page from. In my own case I'll use Visual Studio Code. You can use any editor you like. You can use Atom, you can use Sublime Text, you can even use Notepad++, anyone that suits you. Now, so, well, you are advised to code along with me as I go to make things easier, and you can watch and code later. So, now let's dive in. Let me remove this. Now, so what is HTML? HTML is simply Hypertext Markup Language, HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. This is a language the browser sees, that recognizes and interprets to give you a web page. It tells the browser what should be displayed. The browser reads an HTML file, interprets it, and displays the result on your screen. Now, let's go into it. Now, the first thing you want to do once you open your editor, in my own case Visual Studio Code, is to get a new file, and you save that new file as index.html. Now, the reason why we use index is because index is the file and the server reads first. Now you can link all other files to it, but the first file a server reads is an index file, which is now in our own case will be index.html. Now it's better to create a folder for it. Let me go into my desktop, a new folder, let me say HTML, create. Now in my desktop, then I can save it as index.html, save. Now I'm just gonna grab a couple of syntax which I will explain now. Now, you for a basic HTML template, you have something like this. This first line tells the browser what version of HTML you're using, which is version of HTML. Now, this second line marks where your HTML document starts from. So, it clears the start of the HTML document. Now you can see that here we have a pair. You will see this is HTML, this is the close tag of HTML. Now HTML document is composed of HTML elements. Now each of these lines here are called HTML elements, and each element is made up of tags. Now tags too are made up of angle brackets, which is this. You get. Now you have your HTML document. This whole thing here is our HTML document. Now you will see there is an angle bracket here, closing an opening angle bracket, then the closing angle bracket, then some things in between. Now that is an HTML element. Now HTML elements are most times in pairs. Something like this, you have your opening tag for HTML and the closing tag for HTML. And we'll be seeing more in we'll see opening tag of head, the closing tag of head, opening tag of body, and the closing tag of body. Now let's go back to what we were explaining. Now this is telling the web browser that okay, this is where my HTML elements start from, where this is where you keep all data about your HTML. Data about your HTML, meaning things like your style, the things that will not show up on the web page, that necessarily does not show up on the web page, the title of the document, the author of the document, the probably if it has a version and things like that, every data about your web document will be placed in a meta tags for search engines. They are put inside the head. So data's data about your HTML document. Now you can see that it also has an opening tag and a closing tag. So now this is where nesting comes in. Now this head here, let me make it simpler. This head here and this body here are children of HTML, like they are nested inside HTML. That is why we gave them an indentation. Same thing goes for this head. Everything inside it are a subset for the head. That is why they are also indented to be inside, to be in between the opening tag for head and the closing tag for head. I hope you understand. So the second thing will, now like I explained earlier, all these ones here are data about your HTML element, which will be coming into a moment, but let's move on. Now that is for head. Now let's talk about body. Just like when you're writing letter in secondary school, like, or any letter that you write, you have the head of your letter, you have the body, then you have the, like, the footer where you sign and the like. Now, same thing goes for HTML document. We already have our header that specifies the data about this document. Then we have our body, which is the main content of our HTML element. The things we want to see on our web page, the things we want the web page to display for us. Now, let's try out something. Let's just put hello world, normal basic hello world, and see what happens. You save it, then let's go and look for the file. And the file is on our desktop and we saved it as HTML, and there we go. Hello world. The hello world will put here. Now let's do something interesting. Now we'll be introducing us to the first tag, which is the H1, the header tag. It is for creating headings. Now, we have variations of headings depending on their size. So we have from H1 to H6. Now, let's try each one of them. H1. Now, don't forget they are in pairs. My own Visual Studio Code is making it pair for me, which is easy. But if you are using other editors which does not pair it for you, don't forget to always add this end tag. There are some tags that do not have an end tag. We'll come to that briefly. So I'm just gonna grab everything, copy it and paste it all through. 4, 5, 6. Now that's 6. Let's change it all. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have an extra. Don't forget to change the. Now these H1, H2, H3, the one that comes directly after this opening tag, they are called tag names, which in this case our tag name is H1, our tag name here is H2, our tag name here is body. So let's try that out and see what we get. Wow, so this is okay. Let's change this to header 2, header 3, header 4, header 5, and header 6. Now let's so we have this is header 1, this is header 2, header 3, header 4, header 5, header 6. You see that they are the header decrease based on their size. Header 1 being the largest, while header 6 being the smallest, and this is our normal hello world. Now let's move on. The second tag we were talking about is the paragraph tag, which is the P tag. The P tag is just normal paragraph, like you want a block of line somewhere. So let's say what I just did is a basic random text generator used in programming, Lorem Ipsum. You can use it to get random text in your site. You don't always want to keep typing and typing and typing. It just generate a random text for you. Now this is a paragraph. Now let's say we have another paragraph. Another paragraph. That is another one. Let's check it. You see that they are the way they come out. Now note that when you type things together, let's say hello you, notice what happens here. Wow, they are on the same line. Now HTML document does not respect white spaces. No matter the amount of white spaces you put, they will still come up on the same line. I hope we get it. One other important tag we should talk about is the BL tag. In order to solve this problem of, let's say you actually want this hello world and hello you to be on separate lines instead of the same line, you can always introduce a break tag to break it apart. BR. Now a BR tag does the trick of breaking it apart. Earlier I said the first thing that comes after this first angle bracket is an HTML tag. Now every other thing that comes after it, in this case lang, all these ones, lang equals en, they are called attributes. Now attributes are like a an explanation for our HTML tag. Now, in this case, you have HTML and we're telling it the language for our HTML is in English. I guess you understand. Now, the second one here, the second example we have here is the meta tag. Now, the meta tag is the name of the tag, whereby this char set UTF-8 in front of it is called an attribute. Now, what we are just saying here is the character encoding set should be UTF-8. Then the second one we have, now you can have multiple attributes for just one in just one HTML tag, HTML element. Now here we have name equals viewport, content equals width device. All of them are attributes, multiple attributes for a single HTML element or single HTML tag. So we'll come back to the explanation of those ones. Now, as you can see here, attribute actually comes in pairs, the name and the value. Now, the name here is charset and the value here is UTF-8. Now, the name for this HTML attribute is lang, which is short form for language, whereby the value is en, short for English. It comes in names and value comes in pairs. Now let's set one more head tag here, which is the title. Let's say our title is my first web page. Let's check that out. Now here, if you notice in the main web page, my first web page is not there, but if you notice the name of your tab, of your browser tab, it has now changed to my first web page. Now that is what title does for you. Now let's talk about one more tag before we round up this session. Now it is the PRE tag. Now what does the PRE tag does for us? You might want to write something. Take, for instance, you want to write a poem, and we know the way they write poems in lines by lines. And if you recall, according to HTML document, it doesn't respect white spaces. Now let's say I want to write a poem, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Now it's something like this: twinkle 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 little stars, how I wonder what you are up above the world, so I, like a diamond in the sky. Well, if I made any mistake, don't mind me. It's just we are not doing twinkle twinkle little stars competition here. Now, yeah, this is it. This is not how a poem looks like. Twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder, all on the line. We want it on separate lines. Now we could fix this easily by just introducing a BR tag in front of each of them and breaking them down. You get. Yeah, we got it. But wouldn't this be a much tedious work? Imagine if you have about 1,000 lines of poem and you have to be putting BR tag in front of each of them just to make them come on each line after the other. Now, a very simple way to go about it is just introducing a PRE tag. Now, this tells the browser to put everything the way they are. Now it comes out just the way you type them, just like you're typing a poem. I guess you understand. Now with this, we've come to the end of this part. Stay tuned, subscribe so as to get update of the subsequent classes. If you have any question, drop it in the comment box. I will reply as soon as possible. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned.